Hi friends, it's Berges here, and it is really nice to actually be sitting down for one of these videos. I'm really happy about this chair. Today I want to talk about something interesting. I've realized that oftentimes we have a tendency of dimming our light. And what I mean by dimming our light is that we have a tendency of not being ourselves, not being our true selves in some situations. Sometimes we kind of feel like we don't want to look stupid in front of other people, and by being honest and direct about who we are, we might look dumb. And so we have a tendency of kind of dimming our light when it comes to certain people and certain situations. The first reason that we dim our light is that we feel like we need to, because we feel like we can't be ourselves around this particular person or this particular group. And I've been there before. The reason why I can talk about this is not just because I'm a therapist, but it's because I've been there before and I understand it. And I've had people before that I've wanted to hang out with so bad that it just didn't feel like I could be me, that I could open up, that I could talk about what matters in my life, that I can talk about what I love and what I care about and what makes me cry and what makes me laugh, because I just didn't feel like I could be that person. The second reason why a lot of us tend to dim our light is that we feel like we need to go along with the crowd. We feel like we need to go along with whatever they're thinking, and a lot of times that might not be what we want to do necessarily. And I find that interesting, and I find that often, we are people pleasers, as humans are. We just are. That's just the way we are. I remember as a kid, I would ride my bike and try to ride with no hands, right? And my mom would be outside, like watering the plants or doing something like that. And I'd be like, look, Mom, no hands. And she was like not paying attention whatsoever. She was talking to a neighbor, had her back turned, or whatever it was. But I remember I was trying to show my mom how cool I was by impressing and by ultimately people pleasing. And I think we still do that today, no matter how old we are, but sometimes it can get in the way of who we are. The third reason why we have a tendency of dimming our light is we get scared that if we're honest, these people will not stick around. If we're honest with somebody and we tell them, the things that we love, or we tell them maybe anything from sexual orientation to past stuff that makes us who we are, that this could actually make them not like us or not want to be around us. And I've been there too, where you just don't know. You're kind of frightened because what if you say, what if you expose yourself? What if you show yourself for who you are and they don't accept you? It's painful. It's like kind of the same feeling as when you tell somebody you love them and they don't respond back, or they say, thank you. It's a painful process, but oftentimes it reveals reality, but we don't normally want to open that package immediately yet. And so we have a tendency of dimming our light. The fourth reason is obviously to fit in. That's one of the biggest things. We all want to fit in. We want people to like us. We want to be liked by everybody. We have a tendency to just want everybody to like us. But remember, when we don't step out and we don't be ourselves, we're not being unique. We're not being our oneness and our true identity. However, fitting in can be fun and exciting for a little while. The fifth reason is to be liked, ultimately. And last but not least is we don't want to look stupid in front of other people, because we feel, what happens if we expose ourselves for who we are? What happens really if we come down to it and tell somebody, hey, this is me. I'm Berges, and I love animals, and I cry for certain movies, and I hug trees, and I do that kind of stuff, and it matters to me. It matters to me. When you explain yourself to people, will it make them like you more or appreciate you more, or will they kind of be scared of you or not want to be around you? And those are all things that we have to figure out, but I often find that we spend a lot of time with people that we don't need to necessarily spend time with because we're trying to fit in, and we're not really finding those people that are kind of part of our tribe. And I think everybody has a tribe, a group of people that are connected with you, a group of people that have those same values as you do. And just to give a few examples of values really is, if you really care about the planet and you're an environmentalist and you recycle and you maybe do some gardening and that sort of thing, it would be cool to find, more like-minded people that are doing that you can spend time with. For example, I have some friends that are vegan, and they spend time with a lot of other folks that are vegan, not because they want to hang out in the vegan group, but because their values are very similar. They choose not to eat meat for certain reasons. they choose to live a different lifestyle. And so when they're surrounded by other people that do, not only does it help them have accountability, right, to stay that same path, but also they can share things that they wouldn't be able to share with other people that don't understand the vegan lifestyle and what that means. And I find it interesting, for example, a friend of mine is vegan and would spend a lot of time with folks that eat a lot of meat. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but they would kind of make fun of her in such a way, and she kind of felt kind of odd about being honest about why she eats that and her preparation of food and where she came from by doing that. But when you're around other people that understand that, you don't have to explain yourself. And I find that we have a tendency of trying to fit in so much that we feel like we have to explain every part of ourselves, and I feel like we just don't. And so what can we do? What can you do? What can be done to not dim our light? And before I really go into that, I want to talk about a personal story, something that happened to me a few years ago. I was actually going to a dinner, and I was actually showing up a little bit late because I was meeting some people that I hadn't seen in a few years. And there was a lady that was working for me for a while, and she had kind of gotten on the wrong side of some people. She had done some stuff that wasn't really above board, and I wasn't aware of it. And by the time I became aware of it, the damage had already been done. And it kind of severed ties because, you know, when you know someone, people just assume that you know what they're doing, birds of a feather flock together, that sort of thing. Well, when we disconnected our business relationship, I found out all this information, was able to talk to somebody that was in between these folks, and I was able to set up a time to actually meet with them and us basically rekindle a business relationship. And so when I showed up at the dinner, it was interesting because I was obviously late for a reason, because I wanted them to have a conversation before I came in. And I saw everybody, gave a hug to one person, gave a hug to another person, met some new people, and there was a gentleman at the end of the table that had his back turned to me, and I didn't see him, so I just assumed that I didn't know him. And so we all had a really great conversation, and everything got cleared up in about 20 minutes. And all of a sudden, I realized there was still that guy at the end of the table. And I finally made eye contact with him, and I realized that I knew him. I personally knew this person. And the rest of the group were like, oh, wait, y'all have never met before. Let us introduce you. And so he went in to shake my hand to introduce himself, which is odd. And for a few seconds there, I almost played along with this game. I almost played along with the fact that we didn't know each other, even though we did. Because he was doing this, and I felt like I needed to follow whatever he was up to. And I almost went that way. And split second before I actually went out to shake his hand, I was like, hey, what's going on? You remember me. I'm so-and-so. I met you 2 years ago. Remember we hung out? We were just talking about you the other day, about all the great time we had at that event. And it was interesting because I realized everybody looked around and said, oh, wait, how do y'all know each other? So you know Ashley? And it was interesting because I realized that there had to have been a conversation before I got there. And I think specifically was talking about me prior to getting there, right? And he didn't want to let them know that he knew me. Now, had I played along with that lie, I don't know what would have happened, bad or good, but I remember he left the dinner early. And I can't explain why that happened or why he chose to do that, but I do know one thing. When you try to dim your light and not be yourself, it kind of gives you a sick feeling, like you're doing something wrong. And I definitely felt that if I was to continue that conversation and shake his hand and act as if I did not know who he was, that 1, I would have been lying. 2, I would have been dimming my light. 3, I would have been going along with some sort of shenanigans of his, and it probably would have ended up coming to bite me on the butt. Because something was up in that conversation, and by me being truthful and honest and not dimming my light, I don't know what came to pass, but I know that it probably worked out for the best. You know, it's interesting because when I work with a lot of clients, one of the biggest things is being yourself. It's being honest, it's being truthful, it's being authentic, it's being real. And how do you do that? And the first way to do that is to be yourself, right? You know, the second thing is to really see and identify when you are dimming your light, when you are trying to not be yourself because you feel as though you can't fit in. And when you're able to identify these situations, it makes it easier to see it before it happens, but it also makes it easier for you to be you and to defend yourself as being uniquely an individual. And also to realize that there's always going to be people that you can connect with. But if you're spending a lot of time with folks that don't get you, don't understand you, maybe question you, or maybe don't see your value, you're wasting time, you're wasting precious time in your life, really, with people that for one reason or another really shouldn't matter that much to you. And you know, it's interesting because I find that when we do dim our light and we don't be ourselves, not only are other people missing out that are probably learning from you that you don't even realize are learning from you because they're watching your every move. A lot of people are really looking toward people to understand who they need to be. So when they see someone that's a very cool individual, that's, you know, at least appears to have it together, working to get it together, doesn't have all the answers, knows they don't have all the answers, but very honest about it and very truthful, it resonates at a higher frequency. And it really connects with folks. And so a lot of times, even though you might feel lonely, or you might feel discouraged, or you might feel like you don't have deep relationships that you are really yearning for, remember that everything you do in life, everything you do, everything you say, somebody is listening and probably learning. You know, another thing to remember is that oftentimes people don't want to look like an idiot. So, you know, you might want to say hi to somebody, or you might want to wave at them and that sort of thing, but you don't want them to not say hi back. What happens if you, hey, what's going on, John? How you doing? And you're in a crowd of people and everybody turns around and sees you and John doesn't pay attention one bit and just keeps on walking. And a lot of times we can feel very silly for doing that and kind of uncomfortable. But, you know, if we hide ourselves and dim ourselves because we're scared that somebody's not going to respond back to us, we lose out on ourselves. You know, the first person that hears hi, how you doing, or any sort of loving comment that comes out of your mouth is who? You. Okay? The first person that hears every single word that comes out of your mouth is you. The first person that hears any sort of gesture, or sees any sort of gesture is you. And that's kind of the joke that I have with some of my friends is that, you know, when somebody, you know, gives you the bird on the highway, the first person to see that middle finger go up is the person that has that finger. You know? And so when you're thinking about it, when you're being yourself and being honest and a loving person, that can't be wrong. And the cool thing about that is that you stay the course of who you are. And so when you find a situation where you feel like you have to not be yourself, I ask you to ask yourself a big question. Why am I here? What does this have to offer as value in my life? And why do I feel that I have to hide or dim my light? Because remember, it's really all in our head. We really don't know what that other person is thinking at all. So in the situation that I offered you the example in the restaurant, I really don't know why he was doing what he was doing. But for me to try to read his mind, it's not going to happen. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't read his mind. But the one thing I do know is that if I follow my own lead and do the right thing and be truthful and honest and stay the course, that's the control that I have. That's the method of control that I have in my life. And that's the only control we really have if you think about it. We can't think about what's in other people's minds or what we think that they think. Like, will they think that we're stupid or will they make fun of us? Who cares? And I know some of you might say, hey, that's easier said than done, Ashley. But when you begin to stand up for yourself and realize that there'll always be people that want to hang out with you, there'll always be people that care about what you have to say, but it starts with you. You have to care about what you have to say. You have to care about you for others to feel that way, because certainly some people are going to fall by the wayside. Some people you're not going to have time for anymore. And then you're going to meet some really cool folks that really understand you and you understand them and you build each other up. And I find that the most successful relationships that you can find. I want to thank y'all for watching this today, because I think that it offers a little clarity on being yourself and just being authentic and being real. You're unique and an individual, And you owe it to yourself because you are a shining beacon of light. And you should show other people and radiate that amazing light. And the more you radiate that light by being you and being unique and just having fun with it and not taking life too serious, other people are going to look at you and say, man, this person really knows not only how to be an amazing human being, but just has an amazing energy that other people want to be around. I hope this video has helped you kind of understand in certain situations when you have kind of felt like you can't be yourself, and maybe help you kind of think about those types of things and realize that, you know, you do have amazing talents and you do have abilities that you only have. And if you can find that and really resonate with that, then you really have something there. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I hope this video has helped you to recognize the times in your life that you're dimming your light to fit in and to be liked by other people. I've done it numerous times. I've used this actual work to overcome that and to stop doing that in my own life, and I hope this can help you. Also, comment below here, below the video, and let me know maybe some ideas that you had from the video, or recognizing the last time that you were dimming your light and how you got out of it. As well as let me know of some subject matters that you would like me to cover on an upcoming video, because I'd like to address those as well. And don't miss the other videos on the channel. I mean, talking about borderline personality disorder, narcissism, covert narcissists, also finding your passion and your purpose, and really recognizing who you are and staying on point and being authentic. I look forward to hearing from you, as well as please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and please like this video. I appreciate you watching the video, and I look forward to hearing your comments and suggestions because they mean so much to me. Thank you, and live your true life today.